Hello everybody, welcome to Discussing Tabletop. We are on episode 25 here for April 22nd, 2017. Now, today we have a couple of guests with us today. We have Derek from Elven Tower. Of course, we have David there. Unfortunately, we were not going to have John with us this week. Our returning champion, so to say, he got sick. So we're not going to have him. But of course, we still have me and Joe to discuss everything and get us all set up. So hopefully you will enjoy the show for today. Everybody can basically pimp out their stuff at the end of the show, as I kind of normally say. But at least I've introduced everybody. But let's get to the topics of this week. Okay, so me and Joe are going to discuss magic for a little bit. I was hoping to have a different conversation with John here, but since we don't have him, we're going to have an interesting one, still talking about some of the new announcements, a little bit about the pre-release, and my favorite part, tokens. Because guess what? I like Magic the Gathering tokens a lot. Then we're going to dive into some other interesting topics. Of course, unearthed arcana this week, the feats to skills. We're going to have the Pathfinder Bestiary 6 came out. I want to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about map making, because we have Derek and David here, who both do a lot of map making. So that's going to be an interesting one to talk about. We're going to move on there and talk about Ponyfinder Beyond Everglow. That's going to be our interesting topic of the week. Which is, I guess, Ponyfinder in space. All right.
Why are ponies invading everything?
And then we're going to finish up by talking about Tirobex, Tiny Robots, Big Explosions. All right, so why don't we dive into it, of course, with the Magic the Gathering topic. So, why don't we start with, of course, tokens. You know, that's one I want to talk about a little bit. The tokens of Amonkhet have come out. I'm a big fan of tokens. Just, I don't know, there's just something about them that I've always liked having them, using them, etc., etc. There's a lot of tokens out, actually. 25. And I understand a bunch of them because they've done the entire embalmed thing of, like, you know, getting mummies and stuff. But also I've noticed there's a lot of weird mummies, too. Have you had a chance to look over them, Joe?
I haven't had a chance to look over all the tokens. And you know me, I'm more old school when it comes to
dice.
tokens.
Yes, dice.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
Dice, or if I have them available, the old fish tank pebble thingies that
right.
Magic originally came out with.
Okay, so here's some of the interesting embalmed tokens. Zombie Angel. Okay,
Angel.
Yeah. Zombie Sphinx. Zombie...
Zinx.
Yeah, Zinx. Zombie Snake Hydra.
Zydra.
Yeah, Zombie Shapeshifter.
Nidra. There you go.
Zombie Manticore. Zombie Naga. And here's the really weird one, which I'm not quite understanding. Zombie Illusion. Isn't it an illusion?
Not really a zombie.
Wasn't it an illusion to begin with?
It's just not really a zombie. It just looks like one.
Right, like Ted Nugent.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, those are really cool. And, of course, we have all the standard tokens. Like, they have a cat token to go with their cats. Black insect token. A hippo token, which I like a lot because we haven't had those. And the emblem. So, I do like how, like, you get unusual ones that they don't show up before. Like, again, hippo token. Because
I want a cat monkey token.
Cat monkey was a creature. It wasn't a token.
I know. I want a token of it, too.
Too bad. You just have to live with the creature. And sandworm, which is, you know, sandworm.
I'll exchange a zombie illusion for a cat monkey.
I think the rate is 2 zombie illusions per cat. That's how it goes.
But the monkeys are cheaper, so that's why it's only 1 for that one.
Okay.
Oh, so we're trading off here.
Yeah.
So I was a Magic the Gathering player like 10 years ago. What are these tokens you're talking about? Like, what is
Yeah.
this?
And
Okay.
I played in 1993. That
Okay.
was it.
Okay.
Okay, so when a creature, when you can make multiples of a creature type, you normally do it with tokens. It used to be back in the day you either use dice or the little pebbles that they came out with. Now they've actually come out with token cards that you can have in this, like on the side and be like, oh, I'm I summon this token of a cat. Now I actually have a physical card I can put on into the.
So you just have a stack of those on the side ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And sometimes it's still, like, if you're using really large numbers of them, it still might make sense for dice, but...
Yeah, you might put, like, the one card out and then have a die counting how many you have on it. How many tokens of that you have. Instead of putting out, like, look, I have 10 of these. I'm going to fill up my whole battle board.
That's a little more impressive visually, though, to have 10 cards sitting out there.
Yeah, but if you have limited space, a die works better.
Yeah. Or a calculator.
Yeah, God, the calculators. Yeah, no, that I mean, it's like we both have been there for the old school ways of doing it too. A lot of the dice and stuff, and I mean, I liked the tokens as a concept anyway, and that's why I've just always been a fan of them. Because I guess I always played with a lot of them, and so there was a lot of weird dice representing everything always on my when I'm playing. So it's like I have piles and piles of dice. That's odd. But now it's sort of like, yeah, we can have a whole bunch. So I like it.
Yeah, I think the dice stick with me on the gamer aspect too, because I always have dice on me.
It's true. All right. So I just wanted to go over them a little bit and discuss them a little bit, just because I always like bringing them to the surface. Anybody with a new set that has seen me dice. But I do want to talk about, I guess we can mention the pre-release. It's this weekend. I don't think either of us are going to be able to go to the pre-release. I don't even know if either of us are going to be able to go to the release. It's like, they had like midnight release, like pre-release stuff last night. I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm tired by then. I wasn't going.
I might be able to do it next weekend because I would have money then, but I don't know if I'll have the time.
Yeah, that's the only thing, is the time. I mean, it's always...
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the Zombie Illusion Warrior, and it's a really lame token. Because as soon as it becomes target of a spell, you sacrifice it.
Well, illusions always kind of sucked like that. I mean, we're difficult to play with.
I know, but it's just like, Zombie Illusion Warrior, you're not great.
No, you're not great at all.
I don't need tokens to just disappear.
That's always the way that they've been, though. So, I mean, it's got to be that way.
Still.
So I did want to bring... Yes, I did want to bring up, and I guess we're not going to dive into the conversation as much as we would have this week. I did want to mention, of course, Iconic Masters and a little bit of Ixalan, the two stuff they announced. So, I mean, we've gotten a little used to... They're putting out the product of Modern Masters, which, if anybody's not familiar with it, Modern Masters is effectively a series of sets they put out, where they're taking all cards from their Modern line, which is basically when they change their format to how the cards look now, and reprinting a bunch of them. Now, the thing about this is, it's more expensive than the normal cards. I guess because they want to keep up the value of some of the older stuff they're printing along with it.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense to a degree, but...
But the thing is, reprints are always considered to be cheaper than the originals anyway.
They're trying to keep up the price for the reprints even, it seems.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it, is like... I heard a discussion which was talking about, like, the reprints, and it's like, well, you have things like Shivan Dragon, back from Unlimited. It's been printed, like, how many times? And if you look back at those old Shivan Dragons, they're still expensive.
True, and then if you come out with one that's a lot cheaper, then it's going to be like, well, if I want to add it to the deck, I'll get the cheaper one instead.
Yeah, that's the only thing about it. The people that still want to collect it and get those original ones, it's still going to keep the price. So that's another argument against, like, keeping the price up high. But now they have Iconic Masters coming out in November, which is like the same thing, except maybe more iconic cards rather than, you know, from their modern series.
Yeah, I just read over the blurb. It's over the cards over the whole 23 years of Magic history.
There's still certain ones they're not going to reprint. They have they have their older cards, which they basically, what is it?
I could think of one they would never reprint.
Well, they have an entire list that they don't want to reprint ever. They came out with it during the Urza's block.
Well, I could think of one they would never reprint that's the rarest of all.
Well, that's one of them.
Black Lotus.
They have like a whole yeah, well, the Power 9 are included in there. The dual lands, there's a whole lot. There's like 100 cards that they've basically said, we're never going to print these again.
Yeah. Well, Black Lotus has been banned for how long? I think it's been banned since I've been playing.
Yeah. That's the thing about it is, like, and things have gone on and off that list over the years. And though it's sort of like
never going to go off.
Well, yeah, I think there's certain ones which we can never see a reprint on, but I think the idea of it, that argument we were saying, was someone was using that argument against the entire idea of this list in the first place.
Right.
So, I mean, and also, I also think like someone put it really well here. These packs are $10. We're already maybe spending a whole lot on the Modern Masters 2017, if you want to get any of those, which are like $8 or $9 a pack. These are way too expensive.
Yeah. I mean, for that price, you can get older packs still in the pack for around that price.
They're not going to be the ones that maybe have some of these iconic rares, though, you know? So it is
right, but at the same time, I mean, if you're looking at it as a collector's standpoint, it wouldn't be worth it.
No, I mean, that's the only thing is, like, I look at it on, I like to collect all of them, so it's sort of like, well, I probably want to get these, but maybe I'll just try to get them individual, because it might be still cheaper then. I'm sorry, the commons and uncommons, more than likely most of them, are not going to get price. Anyway. Right. So,
and it kind of makes no sense to spend $10 to get a pack of cards that only a couple of them might be worth anything.
And the box has 24 packs to it, 15 cards still to a booster. I mean, but the 24, that's different. Normally they have 36 to a box.
Yeah, so it's you're spending more money and getting less cards even too.
So I think that's the thing about the iconic masters. There seems to be like this, what can you give us in it that will make it worth this? We already have a set like this once a year. Why do we need two?
Exactly. It's like you have to have something that people really don't see reprinted at all, almost, to make it like, okay, it's worth buying a bunch of these to try to get that.
And the fact is, we would want some certain things about it. Like, you have to consider Modern Masters. Majority of it is the old art, anyway. They don't reprint the art, which is one of those things about it. It's like, what do you have to do to actually reprint this? Like, nothing whatsoever.
And these are all featuring new artwork on the old cards.
What are?
Iconic Masters, it says it's featuring new artwork on many cards.
Oh, so this one.
Yeah, this one they're actually doing new artwork for.
So, see, this one is sort of like, out of the two of them, I might actually support Iconic Masters instead of Modern Masters. Because the Modern Masters, it's sort of like,
it's just a complete reprint. Where this one, you're getting something new at least.
The Modern Masters, they do have a few that are new art and stuff, like Snapcaster Mage is the only one I know because it's the guy that appeared on the box.
Right.
And it was new art to it, and that's why I knew it. And other than that, though, it's sort of like, well, most of it's reprint of art. So
I mean, by the way they're saying this, it sounds like a lot of the cards, the majority of them, are going to actually be new artwork on them.
I like that a little bit.
Which, I mean, if they're keeping with the style that they've been doing, they've been kicking the butt out of the artwork. So, I mean, it would be interesting at least to see what they're doing with these old cards and how they're changing up the art.
So there is... There's definitely something to it. I definitely will look at it and see what they're putting with it, I guess is what I'm going to say. Because I guess they like to say...
out for sports.
They like to say that these products are more for new players to get, like, older stuff, that they can play with the older stuff easier, but I don't know, the price point just always tends to scare me away a little bit.
To me, if I'm a new player, I'm not going to be spending $10 when I could go online and probably find some of the exact cards I want for around the same, maybe around the same pricing.
Oh, yeah.
Know what I'm getting.
Yeah, it's like, granted, you might get one of those random ones that are really great, but still. I did not know that. Thanks, Olorant in chat, for mentioning there's a new edition of Warhammer 40k coming out, apparently. I don't actually know about Warhammer 40k. If you want to, I can add that into the end. So, there you go, chat. I'll help you out. So, Iconic Masters. I mean, I guess we're going to have to see some more from it before we really get an idea about a lot about it. I did want to mention, though, people are the thing is about, like, Ixalan, which they've announced. So, for one thing, new plane, so it's not one we've seen, which people would like to have some more revisits rather than new ones, because they've been doing constant new ones for the last couple of sets. They revisited, like, 2... For a while there, they were revisiting new one, going back and forth, and I liked that. Now they're just... It's hard to say what they're doing. This is the third new one in a row. So, okay, that's maybe not a bad thing. They're taking a step away from their big storyline that they've been having over the course of a bunch of sets, the Gatewatch. Okay, I never minded the Gatewatch. There's some people that liked it, some people that hated it. Okay, let's take a step away. Now they're making it basically South American themed, is what I've heard. I don't know what that's going to mean. Is that going to mean like more like Aztec or something, or Mayan, or...
That's what I'm thinking. Probably like
Incan?
Aztec, Mayan, Incan kind of...
theme.
Just kind of like what they've done with Amonkhet.
Which is Egyptian, and...
But I'm saying, with that lore of that...
Technically, Kaladesh was more like Middle Eastern a little bit, I think it was supposed to be. And some of the other, like, Theros was Greek, like, Innistrad is very Eastern. They do a lot of themes about real-world areas, technically. So it's like, it's not like... It's interesting to be a new one, but... I don't know. Again, we don't know a lot about it, and I think our lost guest, John, probably would have had a lot better of an opinion on it based on this, because he's got some good opinions on these things.
May he rest in peace.
I know.
Poor John.
Poor John. Poor John. But, you know, I feel like I don't mind as much the new worlds, you know, as much as I would like revisits. Like, I would love for them to return back to the old world, Domineria. I would love just to see it. We haven't seen it since Time Spiral. The old plane of Unlimited, you know, from the original set. We haven't revisited it. I would love it. But, you know, we're going to have to wait and see about a lot of this stuff, too, I guess. It's just, interesting direction that Magic's taking. That's a great way of saying it. Interesting direction. But why don't we move on, though, and move into our big role-playing thing. And, of course, let's start with the Unearthed Arcana from Dungeons & Dragons, because this is going to be the last one out for a while. And that's the big thing about it, that I'm like, they're going to be, like, rather than once a week, they're going to be maybe, like, once a month, twice in 1 month, you know, a lot less frequent. They've introduced feats as feats for skills, which is a really interesting one, because it's like they take the list of skills you have, and then you have feats associated with each of those skills.
Which I think it's interesting that they're doing that, considering they kind of took a step back from feats with 5th edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But I guess everybody would agree that some feats were missing. Like, it's good that they're... I remember the last Unearthed Arcana where they added some feats was like a few months ago, where they added some to use with weapons.
Mm-hmm. No,
I honestly haven't even played with any of the feats in 5th edition.
I've seen a few of them here and there. I like them as a different kind of flavor, and I like how they're much more optional, and not only that, you don't get them as a big frequency, and they do have very interesting abilities. I don't feel like any of them are truly, like, ever unbalanced, at least in the ones in the book. And you just sort, because you're replacing, you get instead of ability scores up, you get a feat. You know?
Yeah.
That's actually that's a big difference, technically speaking.
Yeah, that's why I haven't really used them, because I'm like, I'd rather have the ability score.
We've used
But
them all.
like with some of a lot of these, you still are getting
A lesser amount, yeah.
you're getting a 1 to an ability. So it's like, okay, instead of getting 2, I'm still getting 1, so I'm only trading half to take one of these. These I would be more likely to do then, because at least it's like I'm still getting a slight bump.
There were a couple like that in the book.
Right.
Yeah, but no.
All of these are like that, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So all of these, it's like, oh, well, there's more incentive to take it because you're still getting your bump.
Yeah. And I like how these play off of each of the skills, because that's interesting. It's sort of like the skills themselves, I don't think they define them huge, like very large in the normal adventure nowadays. You know, it's sort of like we define the skills, they're there, but it's up to DMs to define the uses, which I'm fine with. You know, it's sort of like, do I want to use this one or this one? And it feels a little more organic than sometimes. But I also don't mind when I have a little bit of direction. And I feel this adds a little direction sometimes. Like, we would just take one, for example, like the Sleight of Hand one, Quick-Fingered. If you have proficiency, you either gain proficiency in the skill, or if you're already proficient, you double the bonus on it. Okay, most of them seem to have that. You know, like you're really great at this one skill. But then they, you know, increase the score, and then add another ability. In this one, as a bonus action, you can make a dexterity sleight of hand check to plant something on another creature, conceal an object on a creature, or lift a purse, or take something from the pocket. So for basically a bonus action, you can basically like yoink, put something in or out.
Yeah, I know a character that's definitely might take that, because in our Sunday game, that's one of the few skills that I just didn't have enough skill points to, enough known skills to do, and I'm like, I really think he needs that. So now I can actually get take a feat, get proficiency in it, and
you get an interesting ability with
it. Yeah. And still get a bump in a stat.
Yeah. So I think that's another thing too, is there wasn't a way really to get other skill proficiencies. This is it. You know? Now we can have options of more skill proficiencies all of a sudden, because we could take a feat if we wanted to be proficient in something. A human, first level, hey, guess what? I could take one of these feats instead of, like, the like, +1 to all stats, you know? I could take my alternate human ability, and hey, I got another skill that I'm proficient with. But, I mean, it's another bonus if you really want a lot of them. And the fact is, I like a lot of ways the skills come up in the system anyway, so...
Well, there's some classes you don't get a lot of known skills, and it's something that makes, allows you to expand your character the way you want.
Yes.
Either right away if you're a human, or later on, that, hey, I've been hanging around, a rogue for a while, and I now I've learned how to, pick pockets.
Yes.
However, it's I just read on Twitter that if you're playing, for example, a rogue who has expertise in sleight of hand, and you take one of these feats, that bonus to the proficiency bonus, it doesn't stack.
Well, that makes sense, because that would be a little broken then.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that if it's only ×2, that's still fine. I could feel like then if you're playing the rogue, that maybe this is a way that you can get your expertise to everything that you would, because I think you get, like 4 by your upper levels. I can't remember if they get like the expertise twice. I can't remember if they get it a third time. It's higher level rogue. It's off the top of my head, but still, hey, it's a way of expanding that.
Exactly, and if you already have expertise in sleight of hand, you're probably not going to take Quick-Fingered then.
Yeah.
You're probably going to maybe you don't have expertise in your stealth, so you'll take stealthy instead.
Or if you wanted the Quick-Fingered ability, maybe you'll take that instead and put your expertise into that stealth if you didn't really want the stealth ability. So you can balance it out to get the little abilities too, and I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great option.
Yeah.
Now I've not played 5th edition. I only know just a little bit about it. I've been playing Pathfinder for many years. But would you agree that the system is pared down, and that this Unearthed Arcana book is now sort of started piling things back in that people wanted or liked about the old system?
Well, the unearthed arcana has been an interesting experiment by Wizards, because effectively it's their playtest material. They're like, here's stuff that we're working on. Take a look at it. You can use it all you want, and we haven't put it in a book yet, so it's technically not it's technically it's legal as far as your dungeon master alive, because we are providing it. You know.
Right.
I think I think to your point though, it is bringing back stuff that people do want.
Okay.
That they toned down, because they did streamline the system a lot, because 3.5 was really went way over the top, and then, and then when they came in with 4th, it dumbed it down way too much.
Yeah, that went a totally different direction. Pathfinder though is 3.75.
Yes,
and there are tons of options to do basically what you want with your character, and as a DM. You can kind of pick and choose those rules, as you see fit for your table. But it seems like now 5th edition, is it kind of going back that way?
Yes and no, because the fact is, like, you want to say something?
No, it's okay. Continue.
Because, like, with the feats, we have options, and the fact is, they are optional anyway. A dungeon master could say, "I'm not allowing feats."
Right.
And the feats tend to be more powerful than they were in 3.5 and Pathfinder, because you get them a lot less. It's replacing your every 4 level ability score changes.
Okay.
Right, you're making a sacrifice to be able to get feats in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're allowing them, but Pathfinder I loved Pathfinder when it came out, because I wasn't a huge fan of 4th.
I never tried that.
We did. I liked it for some of its aspects. I liked the tactical board game aspect almost of it, but unless you're like going out of your way for the role-playing portion of it, which, I mean, you can always add the role-playing in between stuff, but like the story aspect role-playing just didn't feel like there. So if like I got into an encounter with something, I never felt like I could be like, I can diplomatize with them instead of murdering them,
Right. So more of a video game style than...
Yeah, and it was harder to think outside the box.
Yeah, because you had, like, everything felt very cookie cutter in a way, I'd say.
Okay.
But...
Yeah, and with 5th edition, I think they went back to basic, kind of did a reset of what they were doing, and now they're saying, okay, people are requesting certain things to come back a bit, so we're going to come out with this playtest material, see what people think, because you can comment on it, make suggestions on it and everything. And they've already done alterations we've seen on previous Unearthed Arcanas. I'm hoping that the slowdown that they're doing now with it is because maybe they're going to start compiling some of these that they've altered and fine-tuned maybe into a new book, like a second player's handbook or something.
Yeah, and still keeping in mind that streamlined feel of 5th edition.
Right. Because one thing great about 5th edition is... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Derek, you had something you wanted to add?
No, I was just going to say that it would be so cool to have all these feats or some of the other unearthed arcana material compiled in a new official book.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So, definitely. I mean, what I was going to say to finish my thought was... that 5th editions, they really made great for new players or DMs to be able to jump into and understand. And now having these alternate things is nice, to be able to add options back in they didn't originally come out with. I think they did that on purpose to be able to keep it as simple for newer players so they can understand the rules and jump in, because like I said, 3.5 got very complex very quickly.
It's a tough game to teach if you've got a bunch of new players.
Yeah, where with 5th edition, you can just be like, here you go, this is the basic stuff, this is what we're starting with, boom, and...
Roll this and don't die.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think they learned a lot of lessons from all the editions, is the fact. Like, in 5th edition, we do see, like, they learned the basic attacks that they introduced in there for all classes. They really have them here. Cantrips are at will and actually are useful and level up with you, so...
Yeah, that's a major improvement for magic users in the system is, hey, cantrips improve. That makes kind of sense, because if you've been casting that spell for 9 levels, hey, I've learned better ways of using it. That makes sense. It's like, okay, I've mastered this spell. I've learned how to be able to use it in more interesting ways.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I've liked is they've actually taken lessons somewhere in between, like, Pathfinder and here. Because Pathfinder came out with all the archetypes and stuff. And the fact is, Pathfinder still did have the prestige classes, but the prestige classes never really fit very well in Pathfinder, I feel like. They sort of did. Now, we have archetypes built into every class. So basically, every class, you choose a class option at some point in time, which a class option for, like, a fighter might be, I'm an Eldritch Knight fighter. I'm just a basic fighter. Oh, I get these alternate abilities, you know? And... Right. With the Unearthed Arcana, they've introduced a whole bunch of new ones like this. Which they could be like, here's some other alternates that they just add something to the basic class.
Right, instead of having to take extra levels in a prestige class, you could just have that tacked onto your class and be like, okay, I wanted to go in this direction, I could just choose the direction I want.
Or for
that
like,
makes it a lot more playable.
Or for like we're talking about Pathfinder, instead of replacing an ability, they leave that space open. So it's like, yeah, my space is open, so if I'm taking what would be effectively like a different archetype, guess what? I had that space open in my character for these abilities. So, yeah, I definitely like what they've done with the Unearthed Arcana, and this one's a very good one too, I think. This is an interesting take, because, like, the thing about it is, like, the skill feats from 3.5 and Pathfinder, I never took them.
Unless kind of lame.
Unless plus 3 bonus. There you go.
Unless I specifically was like had some kind of build where I needed like, oh, I'm like a build where I need where I really need, you know, use magic device to be ridiculous, you know. Then I'll take maybe, you know, all the combinations of stuff to get that huge bonus.
Right.
If I don't, why?
Right.
Now, is Unearthed Arcana, is this the first sort of supplement for 5th, or is this a...
This is just stuff they have been putting out on their website, basically. You know?
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Every week.
They've been doing it for, like, every week.
Okay.
I'm wondering how that's going to tune in with, what's it called? D&D Beyond.
Oh, yeah, their app that they're basically taking in version...
Right now it's just a website.
It's like Bed Bath & Beyond?
Well, it's like, I would compare it currently, because it's a website, to like the PSFRD, D20 PSFRD for Pathfinder.
Right,
but I think they also want it to be an app eventually, which will be comparable to like Masterwork tools for Pathfinder. Except better. Because they're supposed to also have like character, like creation stuff and GM
creation,
stuff added in. So... I don't know how they're going to add in, Unearthed Arcana to this. Will that be a place that they can release stuff also that you can take a look at? It
would make sense since they already had the forum section in D&D Beyond where you can comment and stuff.
This is interesting. This is an interesting take on the discussion on it, definitely. So I guess we're going to have to see, though, because definitely D&D Beyond's in the early things, and, I mean, getting back to this one here that we've been talking about, I definitely feel like if you want to check out these, they're very good. You know, for taking the example of what's going on with, you know, skills and a version of those skill feats, which have existed for a couple of editions. These are really cool ones because, you know, I actually feel like you get a decent bonus for them, you know, and that's something important. But why don't we move on, though, since we don't want to talk about, because we could talk about this all day. And that's truth, but we should move on. I want to talk a little bit about Bestiary 6, because guess what? It came out for Pathfinder. I personally love a good Bestiary, but, and I'm going to have this a really big but, we all remember, you know, I'm pretty sure most of us that have experienced remember the 3.0 Bestiary, or monster manuals. And some of the ones that were very interesting there. Like... We will always forever, our group of players, remember from the second monster manual, Cloaked Ape. Because we thought we saw it, and we're like, what?
What?
Cloaked Ape.
It's basically like an ape with, like, you know, like, flaps under it. So it's like flying squirrel ape that also had magical, like, spell resistance and damage reduction. Because reasons.
And then we came up with ideas of top hat ape,
Monocle ape, yeah.
monocle ape.
Nice shoes, ape.
Yeah. But it's like, it was the second book, and we're like, so you're running out of ideas already?
Yeah, apparently.
Tuxedo ape.
Zombie illusion ape.
Oh, God, yes, zombie illusion ape.
Oh, I cast a spell and it disappears.
Damn it. Damn it.
But, okay. Pathfinder has been better at their bestiaries. Sometimes I do feel like it's little unusual stuff, but they're usually like, they're not just taking from like, I'm recreating monsters from D&D, they're taking stuff from other sources. Like this one, it's including demigods, which are supposed to be archdevils, great old ones, inferior lords, and clip-off lords. Which, I'm sorry, I never was really planning on having someone fight one of these things, but sure, I'll take it.
Okay, I'm looking at the description of new player-friendly races. Crazed monkey goblin.
Monkey goblins is something that has existed before. Monkey goblins are dumb, but they've existed before.
Crazed monkey goblins, though.
Crazed.
Or albino Manevris? I don't even know what a Manevris is.
It's something new. The Naiads,
But there's
Riverfolk,
albino ones.
there's wolf people, there's like something from Elder Mythos. I mean, I'm guessing by player-friendly they mean like, you could play one, theoretically.
Yes. I totally want to be something called a crazed monkey goblin now.
I think you can be.
Yes, you could do. Yeah. It's
Crazed monkey
player-friendly.
goblin barbarian.
Joe's got it in him, I'm sure. I can see that.
Oh, he does have it in him.
I do like weird things, and I love monkeys, so...
Mm-hmm. And I feel like there are certain things which they haven't mentioned that I would love more of. I've never used one in a Pathfinder game, but I love their giant monsters. Their version of the kaiju. I loved those things. They only gave us like 3 of them, and I'm like, I would want more of these. I would totally just use one as a, like, something going on in the background in a game or something, you know?
Oh,
Did
God.
they give you?
Oh,
Did
sorry,
they
go ahead.
give you a class suggestion for the monkey? Because
Well,
because
this
it
is
usually
what I'm
says,
looking at the short blurb, so...
Yeah,
I think monk probably
Yeah,
seems
like,
appropriate.
the books technically just come out. You can either order it or wait for it to come into stores. So you can order it from them directly right now. The PDF is not quite available yet, and then, because I think they're putting the PDF and the physical copies in stores a little later. So because the fact is, like, if you order it from them now, it's going to be, like, around the same time as, you know, when everything else comes out. So they're like, yeah, you know, you can order it.
I think, though, since they're crazed, barbarian might work better.
Oh, there we go.
Uh-huh.
But I'm also looking at new templates, including mongrel giant.
Well, that doesn't sound like... I'm assuming what that's going to be is, like, if you have 2 giants of different types getting together, they're having rules for that. It's like
I got a storm mountain giant.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, because you can have, like... You could technically throw the half-dragon template on a dragon, and then it's a mongrel dragon, which is kind of weird, but you can do it. And it's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
But I guess it's the same way with giants. You know, you could have, like, that... Your stone giant also have had, like, its mother was a fire giant, so maybe he's got some immunity to fire, too.
Would that make it a lava giant?
There might actually be a lava giant, just not... I don't know if it's in Pathfinder, though. I mean, like, there's been
But I'm
everything
saying, if you
giants.
combine fire and stone, would it be a lava giant?
Maybe that's your excuse for why they exist in your world.
I want a cloaked mongrel lava giant. Yeah. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Bestiary 7.
Bestiary 7. I'm a little like always meh about templates, just from my experience with templates from 3.0 and the fact of, like, we did dumb stuff with templates for fun.
Okay, I think they're doing a weird thing with monkeys right now, because also new animal companion, fierce devil monkeys.
Oh.
Maybe they're just monkeys from, like, hell or the abyss.
I agree, but I'm like, that's the second time they're mentioning monkeys already.
Well, again, the monkey goblins shown up before, so
Pathfinder needs more monkeys.
It doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right.
What happens if your monkey goblin mates with a fierce devil monkey?
Yeah, I could give you the monkey goblin stats. It was in the Inner Sea Bestiary. Yep. So apparently, this is just, that's another one of these things. It does compile stuff from other sources too. Yes. Because they like to put monsters at the end of the adventures and parts of the adventure paths. They usually throw a couple of new monsters in. Other adventures, So they always are technically throwing out a lot of these. So most of these, it sounds kind of silly like we're talking about them now, but they probably have been printed, a whole chunk of them, before in something, and they're just compiling them together. It's like we are seeing a lot of these constantly being printed, which I do like the compilation aspect of it, but,
I still wanted a fierce devil monkey to mate with a devil goblin, or crazed devil goblin.
Monkey goblin.
Or crazed monkey goblin, and create a fierce, crazed monkey devil goblin.
Look,
everyone has a dream.
The monkey goblins are technically not less monkeys. They just have a prehensile tail, and they live in a forest.
I don't care. Goblins. They're not monkeys.
Whatever.
Double the monkey, double your fun.
Double the proficiency bonus.
That's a very proficient monkey.
Oh my god. Yes. That was a win.
With sleight of hand.
With sleight of hand. All right. So, yes.
Sleight of tail.
Sleight of tail. Which you can get a feat for as a tiefling, so why not get it for a goblin monkey? Hi, Cat. Welcome back again.
Animals.
Yeah, I know. Hi, Stream Cat. Hey, everybody, it's Stream Cat. Hi, Damien.
Oh.
Damien's here.
I think Stream Cat's in the Bestiary.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It shows up and interrupts your stream constantly.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we move on, though? Why don't we, at least, because I did want to get to talking about map making, because both of you do make maps for D&D and put them up, or actually role-playing games in general. But both of you, I think, do take different routes for them. I know, David, you do a lot of stuff for the PSFR, the Roll D20, it seems like. And,
yeah, Roll20, yeah.
Yeah, and Derek, you do more a lot of like the like drawn maps and stuff that you put up online. It looks like. So, but I want to talk a little bit about map making. So, I don't know which one of you wants to go first and sort of like start off the conversation, but I make maps myself. I just make terrible maps. I'm not a map maker.
Just own it.
It's the information I need, but it's not something I would ever probably publish anywhere. That kind of thing, or show off. So, why don't we start with Derek? Why don't we start with you, though?
All right. Sorry, what was the question again?
I like, what kind of process do you take for a lot of it? Because the fact is, like, whenever I'm making a map, I usually make it with my game in mind, and you make a lot of just maps in general. So, like, I think that's a good thing for both of you. Like, I'm going to start with this first question about it is, what process do you take because you just seem to make a lot of maps on their own?
Yeah. So usually my workflow is I come up with an idea, and first I draw on paper. Everything I do is hand drawn. So I draw it on paper, but that's just black and white. It's just a sketch. And then I scan it or take a picture. It works the same. And the rest of the editing, like adding labels, coloring, backgrounds, all of that, I do it in... Well, I used to do it on GIMP, which is a free source program, like a Photoshop clone. But I just migrated to Photoshop like last week.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. Like once I finish it, I upload it to my website, Twitter, my Patreon thing, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes when I start, there's two ways I do it. Like sometimes I have a very clear idea of what I want to draw, like a wizard tower or some kind of crypts or catacombs, stuff like that. Sometimes I have a clear idea. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing. So I just start drawing, just go with the flow. I start drawing rooms, stairs, and I start adding furniture, and then I know, okay, so this is going to be a mansion. This is going to be a castle or whatever. But after that, I edit all. Well, now I do it on Photoshop, and I guess that would be it for my workflow.
Okay. David, what kind of process do you take?
I'm a photo texture artist, so I like to do a lot of gritty realism, a lot of detail with what I'm doing. I want it to look like sort of you're in a plane looking down on the field of battle, and you would see very realistic looking things. Yeah. So I start with that process no matter which way I'm working, and I work in two different ways. The first way is if I'm making a map for my home game. These are things I don't sell. I stick with precisely what the adventure calls for. But what I normally do is I run planned adventures like Rise of the Rune Lords, Age of Worms, Dungeon Magazine stuff. Yeah. And I like to remake those maps in my own style so that I can add all the realism that the players then will come to the map and see it. And they're inspired to not play better, but there certainly are more options for them when they see a really good map on my digital screen when we're playing. Then on the other side of things, for my business, making maps for Roll20 or doing freelance, I work in the same style, phototexturally, but it's a little more freeform, especially for the Roll20 products, where I'll just think of a fun idea like, oh, I'd love to have a forest and have a campsite, so I'll start building all these pieces, and they just sort of randomly come to get together. And by the end, I'll look at the whole process or the whole product and see, is there something missing? Is there something I would want in my game? And then I start making a list on the side on a Post-it, and then I'll add those things in and make sure it all works together. If there are tiles that need to fit, make sure they're seamless. It's two different ways of working. One's planned out and one's kind of not, so it's kind of fun to bounce back between the two.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is, I think, is a difference between your both styles. Like, David, I think you're more for, like, the encounter level maps. Yeah, and Derek, you're more like the overall room area maps. And I think that's why, like, usually from what I've seen of your work, you know, I don't want to have to make a full assumption, you know? But, and the thing is, both those styles of maps are very important to the game itself.
Yes.
And just as, like, from my own map making skill, I think both of you do really great jobs. One of those things, you know.
Thanks.
And
thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's become like that's another thing I want to talk about. It's because, like, with the kind of advent of larger online communities and, like, a good surgence of things like Roll20 and stuff like that, there's been a need for a lot of these maps now. So this is, like, something, like, I think I would have looked back a decade ago and said, like, I don't think people could have been doing this as much, you know, like, selling maps. But the two of you basically do that in a way. You make stuff, like, and that you provide out there for people, you know?
Yeah, I would agree that it has taken off considerably. I actually quit my career last September to do this full time, and I currently make a living at it. Like, you know, I'm not rolling in dough, but I can pay the bills. So doing the thing that I love, which is excellent.
Same here.
Yeah. So that's really cool that, you know, you've been able to evolve yourselves to that point in time.
Right.
And that's, like, I guess, again, it's like you don't need to be rolling in it, but as long as you can keep doing something that you're good at and you like doing.
Yeah. And that's part of the payment too, is that if you're doing something that inspires you and that you're proud of and that you love doing and you answer to no one else, which is the best part for me, that that's part of your payment. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
I'll still eat ramen noodles, but I'll eat it happily.
Yes. These are ramen noodles you earned.
I earned
something you love.
This is mine. This is not the man's ramen noodles. These are mine.
And hey, I have discovered ramen noodles with a grilled cheese sandwich, very good.
Oh, have you tried the ramen monkey noodles? They're the best.
I haven't tried those yet.
Give it a go.
But cool. Joe, did you have any kind of questions before I move on with a couple more that I I was thinking about asking?
Not really, as I haven't had a chance to see their work, so I mean,
just about map making in general, though. I meant, you know, like, because
well, David's style seems like it would fit, like, with the one game that I want to rework on at some point, which I need help with.
I know.
I wrote, because it takes actually place in the 1930s, 40s, so a realistic, gritty feeling would be perfect for that.
Yes. Which again, that's, you know, so if we wanted to do something online with it, definitely that would be a good point to like build some of those for encounters and stuff.
Definitely, because that's something I am a horrible when it comes to trying to draw anything out or anything like that. It's like I can do some like computer art stuff, but when it comes to map making, not really. I do like 3D spacescapes and stuff I can have fun with, and I did something for Matt that he hasn't used yet. Slap.
I know. Yes, thank you. Maybe this week I'll try to get to it. But see, like for me, I'm not as good on the details like you are, David. I'm better with, at least like with you, Derek. I can sort of do those overworld maps. I can't add a level of detail that you do, but like the basic like sketch, like you start out with a sketch. That's what I can do. I can start with a sketch really that. I usually use something like graph paper though, because I'm unfortunately very sharp angled in a lot of my maps, and I know that's something.
I use graph paper a lot too.
But yeah, it's like I'm not good at like free-forming a little bit to it. And the fact is, like, normally when I'm doing that anyway, I like to have the idea of, like, it's that mathematical thing that is from my background. It's like, I need to know how many 5-foot squares I can put into here.
Well.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know. It's not the greatest method for it. Like, I think, like, though the creative process that both of you have is an interesting thing, like, for me, my creative process, which I haven't worked on a good map in a little while, is definitely my concept, and then I just draw something, and that's when I just like I throw the details into rooms after I've made them. It's like, how many rooms did I make with my drawing randomly? Okay, should I subtract some of these? Did I do too many? You know, but
since I have a guard standing in a 5x5 foot room, do they have a poop bucket?
Just because.
Like I said, sometimes that's my approach. Like I don't even know what I'm drawing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like drawing rooms, and then I just ask myself like, what's this room gonna be?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting aspects of map making that I do enjoy, which I have to get back to a little bit. I haven't had a good game where I can actually have a good excuse for drawing a map in a while. That's the only thing, you know. I've either been doing pre-made ones which already have maps or stuff, but still. No, I think you got, as I said, I think you guys do some great work, and I think the entire map-making side of role-playing is a very interesting aspect, which, unfortunately, it's not hinted on as much, because it is very important, you know, to know where everything is. Definitely. And, you know, it's enough to be like, okay, you're building cool encounters, and you're encountering cool players, but the question of where you're having it, that's very important.
Yeah, as a dungeon master, I my best playing days are when I have a great map in front of me where I know everything is, because it helps me keep things in order. It helps me keep things in check. So that's kind of where I started when I started making maps, is that I needed that really precise look at what was happening on the table.
At the same time, some purists who only play with theater of the mind approach would disagree.
Yeah, that's very true. That's why I say that my playing style, I can't do theater of the mind, because like, wait, he was by the tree and you were under a rock. Okay, I forgot. Sorry.
See, that's where I'm fortunate. I can do both. Special skill.
Yeah, skill up.
Are you proficient in both though?
Depends on the day and depends on the game.
Depends on the coffee. Yeah.
So cool. Definitely check both of their workout. You know, as I said, David does some stuff for Roll20. Derek does.
Yeah, Roll20.net. Just search for David Hemingway. You'll find it there. I also on DeviantArt, Hero339.
And Derek has his Patreon, and he has his site, so you can see some stuff for both of those. You know, so you know, definitely people to support and get some cool maps if you want some cool maps from them. But I do want to move on so we can finish up the topics for the day, since we don't want to go too late. I do want to talk a little bit about another weird one I discovered. Ponyfinder Beyond Everglow.
No.
I want to know about that. I want to know about that.
Okay, so we briefly talked, or I'm saying Joe briefly talked a couple of weeks ago about the actual My Little Pony role-playing game system, because it came out and he threw himself on the sword in order to learn about it. And we, of course, did learn successfully that if this is your introductory role-playing game that's really great for younger kids, or I guess if you're a fan of the stuff, you know, great. But yep, for younger kids, great one for them. Okay.
Yes.
Apparently, has been putting out mods, or basically third-party campaign stuff that works particularly with Pathfinder, but apparently you can also adapt it very easily to 5th edition too. Ponyfinder, which is set in, like, I guess, a fantasy pony, like, where with new races and stuff, where you could either play, I guess, as a pony race or as a person in this, and I don't know why. It's like, okay, I'm a dude there with ponies.
Well, it says for aeons, ponies, humans, and the most other races have gazed up at the stars so high above and wonderful, wondered what's out there.
That's the pony beyond Everglow, because apparently it's ponies in space. Because they're
in space.
Yeah. Yeah. Which they have 2 races, which one of them is unusual because I don't think it's a pony at all. It's the unspoken spawn.
What is that?
I don't know. They just describe it as the unspoken spawn.
Maybe it's the unspoken spawn of a pony.
That evolved from within time itself and practice. And then, like, mineral ponies, which I guess are gem-based ponies, if you want more ponies, actually.
Mineralite.
Mineralite.
Yeah, we can speak today.
Yes, we can. Blah, blah, blah. Speak today properly. I mean, okay. Yeah.
It's compatible with Spelljammer, Matt.
No, Starjammer.
Starjammer, sorry.
Yes. I'm sure it would be compatible with Spelljammer, because Spelljammer is compatible with 5th edition.
In our Spelljammer game.
No.
Thank you.
At most,
How
you
does
might...
it work for combat? Like, what do ponies do?
God, oh man, what do ponies do?
Well, we can base it off the one Pathfinder unicorn character that we played with.
Oh,
they drop
God.
profit lids in banks.
I want to have the sugar cube feat. I think that would be useful.
You get hyper when you eat a sugar cube?
Yeah. It's like a barbarian rage.
Oh, God. I'm sure it would be.
Rage!
I mean...
1 lump or 2.
1 lump or 2.
1 lump or 2.
I mean...
One?
I guess...
awesome for a one-shot.
Yeah, I think that's what... I guess if you're really a big fan of that type of thing, great for you. But yes, also for unusual, like, world that you're visiting, like, just the general Ponyfinder, I find that would be like, what plane am I visiting? This is a really weird one. Or
you're in the plane of ponies. Did you know that?
Yes. It's like our friend who jokes about elemental planes, and he mentions the quasi-elemental plane of ranch dressing, where everything is ranch dressing, which he's never sent us to, but threatens it.
Yes.
But I think it's the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, you have the plane of ponies. I mean, it's unusual, but I could see using it for whatever reason, you know, that way. The spacefaring version, I'm not sure about that one.
Ponies in space!
I can argue for it because, like, they're trying to be unusual with, like, with Starjammer. Or, yeah, am I saying it right?
Starjammer. You're right.
Actually, it's not supposed to be Starjammer. It says combinable with Starjammer, and that's combining Starfinder and Spelljammer.
Yes.
I just realized that now. That's what? Or unless there's an actual Starjammer that we don't know about that someone came out with.
And there's new traps designed to harass would-be brigands.
Wow. There apparently is actually a Starjammer. Oh my god, that's the PSFRD's, what they came out with, the books they came out with.
Okay.
Oh god, I forgot totally about it. We talked about it on the show, and how can I forget about it?
Go combo.
Go combo. Go forgetting, because apparently that's what I can do. But no.
I don't play Ponyfinder. I don't need to find any ponies, thank you very much.
They totally have racial ability scores up on the PSFRD under Silver Games. You can totally play one.
One, too.
You know what would be awesome? Like, I just got this genius idea. You have your regular D&D or Pathfinder game, but then they go to a different plane, and that's what they find.
Yep.
Or better yet,
Ponies.
they turn into ponies.
Oh my god. Yes.
And they have to get out of there while being ponies. That's a one-shot.
That's a perfect one shot. He's like, now you're all ponies. Live with
I
me.
say monkey finder.
Monkey.
Cloak
Of course
monkey
you do.
finder.
Well, of course
plane of
you
monkeys.
would. See, that's the fact is, of course you would, but you don't have a product that's statting out monkeys. They have a product that's statting out ponies. So,
I was created. How's that?
good luck
The
on
only
that.
thing is, you'd have to be very careful not to step in all the poop that's being thrown around.
But, so apparently, yes, you can find Ponyfinder stuff up on the BFSFRD, because if you really want to.
Or we to the
Darn
apes
damn
and there's cloak apes and tuxedo apes and monocle apes.
Okay, look, I know you have a thing against this, and it's unusual, but again, it could also be the same thing as we were talking before, getting younger people into Pathfinder, although Pathfinder is such a complex system, I just don't know how that would work very well.
Also helps bronies get into Pathfinder too.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. We get some bronies into Pathfinder.
Yeah.
We need more people in the thing is, yeah.
It's about a community. We're making a community.
Yeah, I love 5th edition, but I still love Pathfinder too, and Pathfinder needs some more love from the bronies.
I don't think anything needs more love from bronies.
Look, they're fine folks. I've met like 2, which are okay, and I haven't met any more of them really, technically, face to face. So I mean, I don't have a good example of any terrible ones. There you go. So, monkeys and ponies today. Everybody enjoy it. That's today's animal menagerie of the week, apparently. Because
My Little Monkey Pony?
now we're just getting weird.
Ponyfinder Go?
Ponyfinder Go.
Yeah.
Alright. So, Ponyfinder. They've got a space-varying version of it out now. Because, sure.
What are the
Just
space What does the space helmet look like for a pony?
I don't
I want to
Elongate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone Google that somewhere. I don't care. Whatever. Pony space helmet.
I'm keeping my browser history clean, thank you very much.
Look, this show has my browser history filled with weird stuff all the time. I gotta live with it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The very reason I Google tiny robots, big explosions. I mean, really, what are we looking for with that one? But let's move on, though, again, because I don't know how much there is to say about Ponyfinder after that. I do want to talk about the... it's a new... would it be Warhammer? Is it Warhammer? It's the one that's the big, like, miniatures game that's out?
There's your pony space helmet.
Oh, thank you. I think I really needed that. Oh my god, thank you, no. Thank you for that in chat. Chat, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for no. I'm sorry for him.
New desktop picture.
I definitely feel dirty now.
But anyway, so yeah, they have like I guess it is I think it is Warhammer, right? That we're talking about. That's the big like miniatures game where you can spend $1 billion on it.
Yes.
Okay. They have a new miniatures game, so it's in that style, but it's its own thing, and I don't think it's nearly as insane. It's tiny robots, big explosions, and that's basically what it is—a new miniatures game, where you've got like really tiny robot miniatures on really large discs. I mean, the comparison is you have this disc that's like the size comparison is kind of, it's what, 40mm bases with really tiny robots on them. So you need dice, tape measure, and then little tokens. And basically then they kill each other with the rules that the game has provided. So I find this one interesting because, like, I don't play a lot of the miniatures-based ones, of course. I never got into Warhammer just because of the amount of money that it would cost you. But I do find it, like, if this feels like it's its own thing, with it's got 8 different ones, it gets the rule book, everything you need. Maybe they could come out with expansions of more of them, But it sounds like rather than having like huge, massive armies, you've got a little tiny robot, and you try to kill other little tiny robots. And and they've got like, I don't know if they've got like actual explosions or anything, or it's just they're having explosion. I don't know how the explosion part of this works. I want to know why are
robots can explode.
It's like it's a war game. It's a miniature war game, and it's taking it to like incredible new heights or something.
Maybe they shoot off massive explosions.
Well, see, that's the entire thing. Is it's still imagination based. You know, I guess it's like with Warhammer, where you're still imagining. You know, like, oh, they're using my Gauss cannon or something. You know, and what the heck does that do? I measure it out.
Maybe you use actually cherry bombs on the battlefield.
I guess we could. Well, the thing is,
I don't know what store would host that then. But...
Yeah, I know. Well, one of the pictures shows like shows what looks like to be fish grass of different colors. Yes. And I'm thinking like, is that what I'm using to represent the explosions? Fish grass? Or are they just hiding
those
behind
could be
it?
just like random things.
I know.
I think the circle. No, there's another one that has like circle rings of fire in it.
Oh, the circle rings of fire.
I think those are the explosions.
Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. And you can caught up in those. So at least we have something visual to this game.
Yes. I never got into the Warhammer stuff. One, because of money, and two, because I don't do... you have to do so much prep stuff to do the...
I know. I have played, and you got to build the army, paint the army, get it ready. It's a lot of work. I don't play anymore because it's just too tedious.
And
well,
don't you have to like set up an area too?
Time-consuming.
Yeah. Like, one game seems like pretty insane to set everything up on. Now, for this one, I think, again, you might still need terrain to it, which is kind of like, that's, I think, the most annoying thing. But this seems a lot, at least, easier.
Well, it depends on how detailed you want to be. A lot of these miniature players are very detailed.
Well, this one seems like my first miniature game, almost, you know, a little bit. This one here, you know?
Yeah.
Because... I don't know if you have to paint them. I don't see it anywhere. It feels like you probably don't, because you're just getting a pack of like.
Yeah, I mean, some of them do come pre-painted, and even in the other ones, you know, that you don't have to do that part of it.
Yeah. So I mean, it has some advantages, but again, as I said, like it makes it feel like each has a card and values that you can use during the game. It feels like it's like an introduction to that entire sort of game style. And the fact is, it's like, that might be better for something like us, who don't have the billions of hours or billions of dollars, well, the amounts of money and time to spend to actually set up a lot of this. If, like, you just throw together a table with some crap on it, you know, just to be, like, blocking things off, you can call it a day, you know? Just put some things down and make it simple.
Fish grass.
Yeah, fish grass. Or just like, you know, like put some glasses like upside down on a table and be like, they're towers. We don't have a bunch of towers or trees or something. There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe put a book down
that's
for like
the way we would play, Matt. The way actual miniature players play, they normally don't do that.
I know, but I'm saying this could
part of it is normally the model building.
I know, but I'm feeling like this is introduction to it a little bit more than like an actual like huge Warhammer kind of thing.
Right, but I'm just saying though, I think a lot of the attraction to the miniature players is also the model building.
Yeah.
It's like model railroading, you know, but for role players.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or game players.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of those model stores out there anymore, so everything you have to buy is online.
That's true. I mean, but you, like, depending on certain things, like...
okay, for, like, the miniatures and stuff like that, yes, you can go to your local game store, but if you're looking to get, like, the grass terrain and stuff like that you want to add to it,
yeah,
you're probably going to have to go online or make it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Which, actually, this really does tie into when Ollie was talking earlier about the new Warhammer 40k edition coming out. Which I think is, like, I didn't even know until I just looked this up that they had editions. It's the miniatures game, isn't it? They have editions to
one
this?
person who used to play.
He still does.
Does Kevin still play?
He still does. Last I heard.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he still did or not.
I don't think he does as much, but we do know someone that paints it and sets it up and does the entire insanity. So, I mean, what can we say? If people love it, and it's a type of tabletop gaming that unfortunately it's hard to cover whenever I'm talking about it, when I'm talking about the news and stuff for it, because like what I'm announcing, there's a new like miniature for it out. Like when the new edition comes out, that's cool. I can talk about that. You know, that's I guess basic maybe update on the rules or stuff for this miniatures game or something. You know, that's cool, but I don't know otherwise how to handle these. This one, which is its own little thing, this was an easy one to talk about. I'm enjoying talking about it a little bit. It seems like an interesting thing where you're basically, you're not as insane. You know, I guess is what it is. For me, you know,
not as in depth.
That's a better word for it. Insane's not like the right word. In depth. It does seem crazy to me, just like the level of work that needs to go behind it, but
to non-role players, we might seem crazy to sit here and design worlds and scenarios for us to play.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess it's to each their own, and there are definitely some people that enjoy it a lot. So I can't fault them for it, and it's a section of tabletop, so we have to recognize it. We all love a good tabletop game, and it's, you know.
Who knows, when we do the PAX Unplugged in September, maybe we'll see some people playing it.
I'm sure that you'll get someone there at least, you know. I don't even know if there might have been some at PAX South that I just sort of avoided like the plague because Warhammer. I'm sure there was. Because it's just like, it's the plague to me because it's like I don't have the time or money to get involved in it. I just don't want to. No, I can't look at this and become interested in it, you know. I have one game system, aka Magic, which eats up most of my extra money. So, all right, though. Why don't we move on? We talked a little bit about that. Well, you know, we went over on a bit of it. Why don't we finish up with our last two sections? First off, it's stories from the table, and which it's usually we like to share some gaming stories from our tabletop games, other role-playing games, some awesome session of a board game you had. Maybe like a collectible card game if you had a deck for something. Anything like that. If you have some kind of story based around the gaming table for you, go ahead and share it. And when we have some new guests on, I like to default to our new guests sharing their stories. So, why don't we start with... We'll start with you, David, because I started with Derek when it came to the map topic. I think I did.
Sure. I'm not sure I have any stories about the actual gameplay, but I have been recently frustrated. I run 3 different Pathfinder games, and I've noticed in the last couple of months that players are just being bastards. I mean, they're showing up late. They're talking during the game about shit that's not part of the game, and it's gotten so frustrating that I almost want to make a bullet point list to send to all my players, like, here's what's expected. I mean, I don't know if you guys have run across this. I haven't really taken notice until recently when all 3 groups started acting out. Maybe they have spring fever, but I want to shake them and say, shut up, I'm talking.
We've been having a chronic problem in our actual live games.
Oh, man.
People just not showing up.
Yeah.
Or taking a trip to Japan and telling us they're in Japan a week later.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Not to be too specific.
Right. Oh my god.
I'm walking that fine line between being an ass about it, but then also kind of still making them want to come to the game. And they're all friends of mine, but you know, it gets to the point where it's just like, oh, man, I'm stuck in the middle of this.
I have a little bit of that problem too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't.
It's a matter.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's just a matter of like, you know, you don't want to truly like be a jerk and piss people off, but it's also like, please show up. And then I haven't had as much about the problem of distractions in game as much personally, but I've seen it myself, you know, in other games. So I can understand that. And I always feel like you're always going to get a level of distraction in a game, but it's sort of balancing it out better. You know, it's like, and that's a tough thing, is like, you know, keeping people on track, maybe having like a little jokes here and there, but not getting off track and not letting people... go ahead.
Right, I'm completely fine with that, but like sometimes the conversation will go on for 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm raising my hand like I'm in school, like, hey, over here, we're still playing. You know,
See, I'm glad Matt's in charge of our games at times, because if it was me with the scheduling, I just so want to tell sometimes these people, we're adults.
Yeah, it's really
we
tough.
have a schedule.
One
we
group,
shouldn't have to be tagging, emailing it, texting and calling you constantly to see if you're going to show up. You should be saying to us, hey, I have something that came up. I can't make it this week.
Yeah. Well, one of my games is only 3 guys we play online, and they were getting so bad about just canceling last minute that I said, all right, well, the ball's in your court this time. You're going to set the schedule, and I'll show up. Here's my availability. You guys take the reins on it. So they haven't called in weeks. I don't know what their deal is.
See,
I guess they didn't want to take that on.
Yeah, there's been times with us that I show up to Matt's place and find out, oh, everyone canceled.
The thing is,
so I just drove 25 minutes for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been quite as bad overall for you. It's been a couple of times that we've hit that, but
I mean, we still do board games then or something, so it's not like a total time kill, but it's just like...
Yeah. But the problem is, like, also, like, I feel like it's an interesting thing because, like, for every game our physical group has done that I'm involved in, I'm the organizer, regardless if I'm the guy running it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a job that I started out with. And it's like a job that I started back in, like, the old days, and now it's been stuck with me forever.
I'd say the only time that wasn't true was when I, back years ago, when I ran the game I designed, I did take control of the scheduling for that.
I think that's
other than that, you normally are the person of contact in our group for whatever reason that has happened.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll iron it out as diplomatically as I can, but I think it comes down to the knowledge that they need to know how much time goes into this on my end, how much I have to prepare, and that should be respected if you enjoy what we're doing. So that's what it comes down to, I think, for all game masters who suffer from these distractions and these issues.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things. And I can't deny that there have been times in a game where I've been distracted too. I mean, it happens. But it's like, it's also, I feel like it's a combination of, like, if a player gets off track, you have to be able to rein them in well. And you can't be rude about it.
Right.
You have to be like, but you still have to rein them in still too, which I think is like, I think that's a problem sometimes the other major game master that we have, Chad. Some of us can get out of control too, and, like, I've seen it, but I don't think he's always the best at reining in, like, the other side things. Like, I try to be good whenever he's doing something myself, but sometimes you just get distracted by something.
Right.
I can't deny that. But no, interesting side of this conversation. But why don't we see what your story from the table is, because I think we just answered a question for Gaming Sage Advice a little bit there, because I want to hit back on this for that one, for our last section.
Well, let me just share something that happened in one of my, it was like a month ago, we were playing the Course of Strahd, and we were towards the end of the campaign. My players had just leveled up to level 10, so they were practically just like going back to Castle Ravenloft and finish the thing, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's a section in Barovia that's called. Have you played the campaign?
Yeah, we've been running
in the middle of it.
That's the one we've been doing Saturday nights, actually. So we're gonna do it today.
Oh, so no spoilers, right?
Yeah, no spoilers. Yeah, they're about halfway through the campaign right now, and Joe's one of the players. So yeah, please no spoilers.
Okay. So no spoilers. So
there's a point off, Joe.
There's a point in the campaign, and it's optional, where let's just say it's just possible players turn evil, and my players were kind of going for that feel, right? So like at the beginning of the game, like level 1, all of them were like super good, but by the end, these guys were like completely corrupted. They even have like almost superpowers and stuff. Two of these players, one of them had like vampiric zombie wings and long fangs, while the other was like he was a fighter but became like a fighter sorcerer and had special powers, and he had this ability to summon some hellhounds. So it was like a team of monsters going to Castle Ravenloft to fight another team of monsters.
We've been through that temple.
They went in
All
early.
right.
They ran into some problems and went there early.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. They just got out.
Okay, so going back to Castle Ravenloft, they encounter what's the name of Strat's secretary? This guy
Yeah, the Dusk Elf that works for him.
Yeah, exactly, that guy, the butler.
Yeah.
So they run into him, and this guy was there to invite them to a ball at Castle Ravenloft. But the players were like, no way, this guy's getting out of here alive. So they start fighting, and the fighter sorcerer, like he just throw out. He had this meta magic feat where you can throw 2 fireballs at the same time. So he just threw 2 fireballs at the same time in the middle of the skirmish, you know. So the other player, who was like the one with the vampiric wings, he got super mad, and like they stop the Dusk Elves pretty easy, but then they start fighting among themselves. I'm just watching how they start to kill each other, and the fighter had a pretty strong motive to kill a friend. Let's just say that. So he killed the other guy, and then he kind of became a vampire himself, and the other guy was dead, and he was taken by the dark powers. And then the only people who are left are the paladin and the warlock, who was blind from being revived from the dark powers. And they were like, what's gonna happen now? So what happened is that Rictavio and Esmeralda, who they had became enemies with, they just like came back, and they were like, oh, those 2 guys are dead? Oh, well, then we can make a team now. And so the players were super happy with their characters' death. They were super happy, like, yeah, this is the way I want to go. So they took over Rictavio and Esmeralda and played them through the end of the campaign. So that's how we finished.
Wow.
That's how we finished that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, our group's pretty messed up because we did not have our paladin friend who's in the group, who hasn't showed up in months, was not there to be our moral compass in the Amber Temples. So we took a bunch of deals.
Yeah, like actually the only one, like my paladin player, she's a girl. She didn't take any one of those deals. But Rictavio was there, who they knew was Rictavio was there, and Rictavio was like, yeah, let's find out what's the source of power of Canstrat and stuff. And then when he saw what was going on, he's like, no, we shouldn't do it. We shouldn't. While the other guys were like taking everything.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think that was like one good way to do like an evil campaign. Well, it wasn't an evil campaign, but it was a campaign with evil characters.
Yeah.
Which sometimes get derailed super fast. With evil characters.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh man. That sounds like it was a good one too. That's like, I've been enjoying Curse of Strahd because it's like when you hear stories like that, it's like completely different and stuff, and it's just been like it's such an interesting way that they built it that it leads to so many great stories in it, I think. So
yeah, my character's chaotic neutral, and he took a decent amount of
he managed to avoid any evil.
Yes, but he has temptings of going that way, and he's trying to figure out ways of satisfying urges without actually hurting anyone.
Just let it happen.
Just let it happen.
Yeah, just let it flow.
Yeah,
Get a devil monkey. Just get a devil monkey.
Just get a devil monkey.
No, I already have a closet that's following me around that's trying to convince me to do evil things.
I love
don't
my
need
closet.
a devil monkey.
Oh, that closet's my favorite thing to have cursed you with.
I hate closets. You know why?
You killed his master. He has to do
but
something.
You know why I hate closets from another game that was an evil game?
Mm-hmm.
that I had as a familiar that stole everything in sight.
Kleptocloset.
Yes.
Back in December, we had a fun one shot. We had like a special one shot because two of the players were moving out of the city, so that was like our last night with our old group. So I planned something special, right? So we start like a regular campaign. We played a marathon that lasted like 12 hours long, and like first thing they get in the first dungeon is like Vecna's hand.
Oh God!
They were like, whoa, whoa, whoa! Next dungeon they get the eye. And then they went crazy, so they started killing each other. So I was like, yeah, this is the moment. Like, this is the kind of game where you use the deck of many things.
Oh my God!
I just dropped it. I mean, it was just gonna be like one shot. Like this was like our good day party to these guys. Like
God.
an hour later, they were like, yeah, I picked 6 cards. I picked 8 cards from the deck. Oh, by the way, in this game, all of them were Tabaxis.
Oh my God!
All of them were Tabaxis.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Oh, wow. Nope. All right. Well, why don't we go on? Because apparently, I think we just came up with a question for Gaming Sage Advice, and we mostly answered it is handling problem characters. We kind of went into that. How do you handle problem characters at the table? We kind of talked about that a little bit here now. I don't know if anybody actually, like, Derek, I don't know if you want to add anything, or if anybody else wants to comment anything, but I think that's, like, actually kind of what we did here this week, is, like, because I like to ask, like, a question that can pertain to something on the gaming table that can help people out, and guess what? That's a good one to ask. Yeah. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything, but I think that's actually following into our, like, last little topic there.
But do you mean problem characters or problem players?
Oh, problem. Oh, God.
Yeah, that is a different.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Yeah, those are different things.
No, let's say problem players is problems with players. You know, because, like, you know, the people might be causing a distraction, but they themselves might not be an actual problem, you know?
Right.
So it's like...
Yeah, because I think for the most part, we play with our friends, and you want to keep your friendship, so...
Yeah. But, yeah, I think we did kind of handle it actually pretty well there in the discussion we had earlier, thanks to you, David, that question. I think we kind of handled that, you know, you got to be polite about it, and you still have to make sure to put your foot down, which can be difficult.
Right. Well, a problem like this is a problem that can show up in any part of your life. It's just a relationship problem that you just have to make clear what your expectations are and see if they think that's fair, and if that's the case, then work towards a solution together. But, you know, it's fine to have an aside about the Star Wars cartoon Clone Wars, but let's not let it carry on for 4 minutes, because I ain't got that kind of time.
Yeah.
Or do we need to take a break at some point to let people, you know, get it out of their systems, and then we can move on after like a 10-15 minute break?
Right. I think that might be a good solution on my end, because there's one group of 7 people, and when they're not involved in the story, they tend to get on their phones or lay on the couch with the beagles or talk to each other about unrelated things. I'm like, you know, hey, we're doing this today. You know, I just want to wrangle you in.
Right. Well, it's hard when you have a larger group like that, because especially if it's something that's being very centric among a couple players at that moment, it's easy for players to be like, "Oh, I'm going to tune out for a little bit," or my character's down unconscious at the moment. I'm going to go play a game on my phone until I can be, you know, until I'm back into it.
Yeah, I think maybe that might just be a thing where you have to let it be known that you also have to respect the other players and let them have their spotlight, and you kind of participate even in just a listening fashion, so that they feel like what they're doing is just as important as what you did earlier when you had your moment.
Right, because how would you feel if someone's tuning out when you're having your moment in the spotlight, and it's just like, guys, can you acknowledge this at least?
Look how much fun I'm having without you. Check it out.
or if the party decides to split.
Oh, that's fun too.
Oh man, split parties is like, it's both a wondrous storytelling element, but also the bane of a DM.
I have one right now.
Yeah, because as a DM, you're trying to balance it out, that you're getting back and forth between the two somewhat quickly, so people aren't going off, but you need the players to understand, hey, you pay attention to this, because you know, you're obviously, when you guys meet up again, your characters would have discussed this instead of having to actually
Right.
sit there and go, so what did you guys do? And spend 20 minutes game time actually talking about it. You could say your characters talked about it
Yeah.
since you guys were listening.
Yeah.
Let's move
Yeah.
on.
I've not had a successful split party in the 34 years I've been a dungeon master. It never works out the way it should.
Split parties in towns, I've managed to do pretty decently. But that's about it.
Yeah, I suppose that would be all right, yeah.
Yeah, that's about the only part that I've actually done decently at split parties. Like, in a dungeon, I don't know. That's a tough one. Unless you, like, artificially had them split up for some reason, then maybe if you planned for it. But if they do it on their own, it's just like, well, what do I do now?
Because, you might die.
Yeah, it's like, my encounters were planned for 4 of you, you know?
Right, this world's not going to change just because you made a bad decision.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but in towns, I mean, yeah, you have a lot more control over it because sometimes it's like if you're doing modules, sometimes that's built into it. Like the one module we did in Pathfinder, I'm trying to remember it, where there was the Frankenstein monster that was on trial.
It was Carrying Crown.
Yeah, that one, to be able to do everything you needed to do to succeed, you had to split up, really. But that's kind of a planned split up, and 2, in town, it's like, okay, you had this conversation. Now we'll move to this conversation with you guys, and you're doing this. We'll roll that out, and then you can bounce around in town stuff a lot easier than you can in a dungeon when it's coming down to a fight. When this was built for 5 players, but we only have 2 of you here. The other 3 went off this way. Good luck.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's see if you can do this, or maybe you make enough commotion that the other players hear and come to your rescue.
Mm-hmm. And I did want to kind of expand on what you were saying for like breaks too, because we've gone off on like the split your party, which is an aspect of this. And the fact is, like, I think it's hard sometimes to judge breaks in a game. Like Derek, like you for 12-hour game, I'm sure you had plenty of big breaks in there too, right?
Yeah, like we even went out and had something to eat.
Yeah, that's the thing is, you need that. But like if you're doing like a 3-hour session, sometimes you're like, well, do I need a break in here? Really, maybe you should. I mean, it's like you should be ready for things like bathroom breaks and maybe getting a snack, especially those long ones. Definitely food, and that can help out with keeping distractions down. If they have a point in time where they can have their side conversations, as we were saying, you know.
But with like a 3-hour game, maybe it's only 10-15 minutes. Where if you're doing a long session like we used to at my place for a while, we normally order out food at some point and take like a half-hour break, chat, and then continue.
Yeah,
I think another issue is that sometimes the players don't really get to see each other very much if they're from different jobs or from different worlds out there. And then when they come together, they want to catch up. And so I think maybe one of my players suggests that maybe I build in, like, at the beginning of the game, like a half-hour kind of catch-up time just as friends before we start. Because I'm not a stickler for the start time, because you're usually late anyway, the assholes. But I think if I mentally prepare myself for like a half hour of them just getting a chance to see what's going on in each other's lives, that might kind of tone down those asides during the game when they want to kind of talk to each other as friends.
I think we do a little bit of that naturally in our group, but we also have that same thing of like, which I have to admit I'm bad at timing sometimes, because I also have to travel half an hour to meet with everybody else when they have to travel like 10 minutes at most. So live with it sometimes. When I'm like half an hour to an hour late, then you can complain to me. When I'm like 15 minutes late, please don't complain to me. I never know what traffic I'm going to hit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm always bad at judging the correct amount of time. I should really add like 10 minutes to my travel time. I never do. I never do mentally.
I'm guilty of that at times,
it's
too.
It's like my mind, it always says, like, it's a half an hour trip, when really, on average, it's like 40 minutes trip.
Oh, I hit the train. Well, there goes 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the train
tracks. I have a husband and wife team they're 10 minutes away, but they are constantly a half hour late. What's the deal? What are you doing?
When you're
like, you don't want to know that answer.
I guess not.
When you're having a marital
fight before you come over. But overall, they're my friends, and so I think in the case of these situations, you have to treat them diplomatically. You know, keep your relationship strong.
Yeah.
Despite having to say some things that, you know, might make them defensive or make it tough for them to really enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you have new players like we, a few years ago, there was a new gaming store that we tried to run some games at, and you know, when you have a problem player with new, you'll try to work it out with them, but if it's really not working in the long run, it's easier with that to be like, okay, I'm sorry, but it's not working with you in our group dynamic. Try another game.
Yeah.
Which we did have to do with one guy. It was a younger kid. I think maybe he was 13.
The problem was he had a computer open, and like a computer open's fine if you're like using it for the game and stuff. He was actually playing
computer games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, why are you even here?
And then when it would come to him, he'd be like, "Oh, what happened?" And it's just like we tried to work with him and tried to talk with him for several weeks, and finally we were just like, "I'm sorry, but it's not working with you as a player."
I mean, it's like well, I think I gave him the ultimatum. He has to decide between one of them. It's either you do the honor or you have to leave, and he just stopped joining then. And I think he was a little upset about it that he had to make this choice, but it's sort of like that's a little far. Yeah.
That's a player you don't want in your game.
No.
Yeah.
They're
not really there to play the game then.
I kill their characters and make them go home in shame. You're right.
See, that was the thing. When I ran Carrion Crown, I got used to killing characters. I hadn't been used to it for all my years of role-playing up into then. But that game, it murdered so many people that it got me used to it then. It's sort of like I needed something like that I can at least be reasonable with killing people.
You're desensitized.
It desensitized me to it.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't the most murderific game.
What were you saying, Derek?
What game was that?
For Pathfinder, their Adventure Path, Carrion Crown. There's more to it, I think, but I can't remember it now. It was their, it was like a horror-themed one a little bit. And so it was like it's the Pathfinder Adventure Path, so it's 6 adventures in a row. And I feel like there was a couple of the adventures where people just tended to like die a lot in because they also did stupid things. Like I remember the fighter, which was a really awesome idea, except someone created a blade barrier and he ran through it twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He ran through
it. Wasn't the most murderific game.
He ran through it once, and then the guy that was in the blade barrier dimension doored out of the blade barrier, so he ran back through it again to get to the guy. Yeah.
Especially when you can move blade barrier.
Well, the guy didn't even move the blade barrier. He just let the guy get chopped up in it. I know.
You can't move blade barrier.
Oh, God. It was stuff like that just was like, ugh.
Yeah, stupid mistakes led to lots of death. But then we've also had games that were we had especially one game that happened not too long ago that we had a DM who thought their job was to kill everyone. And did so many times over.
Yeah.
And whereas that's a valid style of play, I don't enjoy it. I like the more narrative thing.
That's why we didn't enjoy it. That's why we ended up leaving.
Yeah. I don't like that us versus them kind of style. I think I want a collective.
He also was interesting because he took the random encounters completely different than the way you're really supposed to think about it. Like, that's the thing is, like, especially because, like, on my normal channel, I just did a video talking about random encounters, which, it brought to light the true essence of the way I like to play them, because I was always bad at, like, describing that. It's supposed to be like, I want a random encounter to be there maybe, but it should fit in the game, and it should help the game. That's my style. He
took the random encounter chart and said, "You're facing everything here."
And I'm going to write it that I feel like it... The thing is, he never wrote it that really felt like it fit too much. It
just happened.
It happened, but he also liked to do a lot of them, like, when you're resting. Oh, no, another random encounter. So it's like, do we get sleep ever?
Ever.
Yeah. Or, like, we're camping. I have to go out and get some, like, firewood and supplies so that we can live and not starve to death. A Roomvarax fights us, which is like RCR. It's like, what?
Yeah, it was Murder House.
It was Murder House, and it wasn't fun.
And it got to the point that people were just like,
well, I think he said have a couple characters prepared, and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't.
Oh no.
want that. I don't want that.
It makes me think of the Gamers too.
Oh,
where it's like
Bard.
the guy created like 50 bards.
Yeah.
Because Bard kept dying. He's like, so it's just like, at one point, wait, I need to cast this spell, but it takes time. What can I do? Hide behind the pile of dead bards.
It's a cover bonus.
It's a cover bonus. But no, I think like that's definitely a style of play that's way different than what we wanted to do. And I respect the guy for it. We don't really play with him as a player as much because he kind of like, he lives by that style of play in his characters a little bit too. He likes to switch characters, and he always goes for, because he likes Pathfinder, he doesn't really like 5th edition, but the thing is he has a lot of time on his hand, and he reads through everything on the website.
He can't make a normal character. He has to make the most outrageous thing he can combine.
Crazed monkey goblin.
It's really what that is. It's crazed monkey goblin.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you know, if someone else wants to GM him, more power to you. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with his shenanigans too much. It's too much shenanigans for me. That's problem player rather than problems with players. Which isn't it's the 3 conversations. It's the problem players, problem characters, problems with the players doing stuff. Which he was 2 of the 3 of those. So hey, you know. All right. Well, why don't we end for the day before we continue this conversations forever? Because again, we can.
Yes.
Of course, the VOD of this will be up on my channel later on in the week. Schedule for videos for me should be pretty much normal, on schedule. Got stuff out, you know. Stream schedule for me is also normal. Treasure of the Lost Legion will be, of course, tomorrow at. We are delaying it to, I think we said 4 or 3. I think I said 3. I'll check my. I'll tweet out.
First you told me.
I'm sorry. I thought you remembered we were talking about this last week with one of the players, or the other week with all of the players. Rachel needed to be a little late because of wedding.
Oh. Did we? Okay, I forgot then.
Bam. So, you know, it will be tomorrow, a little later, and then game streaming tonight. So, everything normal on the channel. You can always check my Twitter if you want any other announcements on that. Why don't we, of course, go through round, basically, to everybody, and basically you can, you know, promote your stuff. Derek, why don't we start with you? So we can kind of, like, do that reverse order between the 2 of you.
Well, yeah, most people know me. I own elventower.com. You can find me on Twitter at elventower. And I also promote my stuff. Some stuff is on DM's Guild. And I've also got my Patreon. You can find me at, it's patreon.com/
Hi, dog.
elventower. And that's pretty much what I do. So I guess that would be it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. David, if you want to promote some stuff too?
I have a stream beagle named Jack. Here he is.
Yep.
Yes, I am on roll20.net at the marketplace. You can search for David Hemingway. I have probably about 16 or 17 different map sets, a variety of things to build your own towns. I like to do a lot of piecework. Now he's getting anxious. So that would be guy. A lot of piecework to allow a DM to kind of make their very own map in my style. So you'll find a lot of those types of sets there. DeviantArt, I'm Hero339. There's some fun stuff there. Some of my older work that's not for sale is up for grabs there if you want to take a look at that stuff. Other than that, catch me on Twitter.
Okay. And Joe, I know you just promote everything that you do with me because that's all you ever do.
Yep. So see everyone tomorrow on Treasure.
Yeah. I will promote our poor guest who wasn't able to join us a little bit, John here. They said we said on YouTube. I got his Twitter up under him. He does magic stuff, and he's got that Walking Dead, I think, like podcasty thing that he does. I don't know. I know of it, but it's sort of hard to describe, you know, because I'm bad with that. Mm-hmm. But promote him too. He was going to be here. Sorry, he was sick. So yep. Everybody, I guess we shall see you next week for our next episode. More guests. Got some interesting people lined up. I hope you enjoy it. Going to have some interesting topics to discuss. I hope everybody has a great weekend and a great week, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks. It was nice to meet you guys.
Yep.
Yes,
Bye,
nice
everybody.
meeting you. Bye.
Bye.
Mhm.